I've got 9-week-old Cookie here with me today, and I know you at home, you've got your 9-week-old puppies, and we're ready to do a little bit of training. So if you'll pause this video, go get your puppy, go get your leash, and go get your harness, and we'll get started. You will notice in this video that I am using some food. I'm using her lunch, which is the Fresh Pet Select Vital Puppy. And when they're this age and really small, and especially when I'm teaching other people that are really used to using a lot of treats, which is, well, I'm calling the food treat, but it's just her food, I'm going to use it to help her come off of pressure and to look me in the eye and things like that. But as she gets a little bit older, and not in the too distant future, we're going to fade those out. And you'll even notice in this video that sometimes she gets one and sometimes she doesn't. But it does help keep the young puppy's attention, and it also helps with people that are used to training with treats or have not a lot of, if you don't have really good timing when it comes to pressure and release, then it's good to use the food to help the dog understand that it was right. What we're going to work on today is it's training the puppy to take and accept the harness calmly, but it's really teaching the puppy to accept any kind of handling that you do calmly. So what I'm going to do is work on her impulse control up here on the table, and then once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and have her step into the harness and put it on. And my goal is for her to stand there nice and quiet while I put the harness on her, not fight me, roll over, do all the things that dogs tend to do. So what I'm doing is called stacking. If you've ever watched show dogs in a conformation show, they stack the dog on the table. It looks real simple when you're watching a dog show. You say, well, all the dog has to do is stand there. But what I want her to do, you know, dogs want to do anything but stand there. So I've done a little bit with all of the puppies. So she's pretty good about it. I want her to stand. And I'm going to always keep control of her head. If you don't have control of the head, then you can't make the puppy do anything. So you've got to take the head and keep the head up in a proud posture. And let her stand there like that. You want to put the feet where you want them. And she's got to stand there nice and quiet. Now, what puppies will tend to do is lean towards you, try to climb on you, so you want to keep a little bit of distance and you want to hold your puppy in that stack. Now, once you have that stack, I'm going to add the harness. So I'm going to lay the harness down here in position, and then I'm going to restack the puppy with her front feet in the harness. So this way, the puppy's going to learn right from the start how to correctly be harnessed. And this is so important. You don't want a puppy that's fighting, rolling over, biting your hands and grabbing. And one reason I do it on the table is because dogs are a little more less likely to give you a lot of trouble on a table because they're a little bit worried about the height, about being up high. So to take it off, I'm going to do the same thing. When I get done walking her or doing whatever, I'm going to put her back on the table and unsnap the harness. I want my dog to always be calm and still when I'm leashing her, harnessing her, and I don't want a bunch of excitement. I want her to stay nice and still. So I've added the leash, and I want to be very careful that this puppy doesn't jump off or fall off of the table. I have a little bit of her lunch, and what I'm going to do is just try to get her to follow this pressure. See the pressure I'm putting on her? And as soon as she gives to that little bit of pressure, I'm going to give her a bite of her lunch. So a little bit of pressure, and she follows the pressure, I'll give her a little bit of her lunch. This is the beginning of leash training. Having a dog that learns pressure and release. So I'm going to pull this way. Good girl. She's even looking at the leash. Now, pull this way. Wait for her to give to the pressure. Good. And give her a little bite of her lunch. Very good. Now I'm going to make it a little bit harder. So what I've done is I've put 2 pieces of her lunch in that corner of the table. I'm going to set her down and let her start getting after that. So now she's at the opposite end of the table. And now I'm going to pressure, and when she comes, she gets a little bite of her lunch. This way the puppy learns in a gentle way what pressure and release means. When she releases the pressure on the leash, she gets a little bite of her lunch. We'll do that one more time. Good. Now notice I'm not calling her name, I'm not saying come or anything like that, because what I want her to do is concentrate on feeling that pressure and figuring out how to get the release of pressure, which is to walk into the pressure. So I'm not going to speak at all. I want her to listen to this. I want her to listen to the leash and the pressure that the leash is providing. So now I'm just letting her drag the leash, get used to the feel of the harness and the leash. This is actually the first time that I've had the harness and leash on her. I'm going to maybe make some little noises and see if she'll come over this way. Come here, Cookie, 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 Cookie. Good girl, touch. That's the other thing we're going to be working on, is her touching my hand. I want her to touch my hand so I can grab her harness. So every single time she comes to me, I want her to touch the treat hand so I can grab her harness, and that's going to facilitate you being able to catch your puppy. Cookie, come table. Table. One thing I want to do with her while she's wearing the harness and the leash is just do some training. Good girl. I just want her to be on the table, and I have this little table because it's really, see how it makes her lie down because she has to bend way down? So, Cookie, table. Good girl. Good. She's offering the sit. So I want her to relate the leash and the harness to training and fun. And I'm just luring her. There. And then, whoop, she got her little butt up. Good. And see, I'm not saying sit her down. Good girl. I'm just having her follow the treat and go into those positions. Learn how to change her body position. And we'll add commands later. The only command I'm giving her is table. This is the table. This is also where we'll start to teach stay. Cookie, table, girl, table, Cookie, table. Help her a little bit. Good. Good girl. Give her lots of praise while she's up here. So we want her to think that the harness and the leash, or collar and leash, don't mean we're just going to go flying out the front door. It means we do lots of things with the harness and the leash. Yes. Good girl. Okay, if I want to free her, I'll just say free. Now she's free to do what she wants. But see, she likes the table because the table gets her lots of attention and it gives her treats. And so we can also teach place. You know, if you could make this place, I could be saying place rather than table, to teach the dog to go to its bed.